Reckless, but let's assume that Russell Wilson does not play second base for the Yankees this season. One-time Yankees beat writer Dan Graziano joins us now in his role as an NFL insider, in case folks at home forgot. So Wilson has 2 years left on his current deal at an average salary of just under $22 million. I hope that's enough for him to get by. A number that has been surpassed by several quarterbacks, though. Any chance that the Seahawks redo his deal this offseason?
A chance, Carrie, but it would not be super wise, I think, for Russell Wilson to do the deal this offseason because you mentioned, I mean, it's been surpassed since he signed it a couple of years ago by several quarterbacks. It will continue to be surpassed. I mean, if you're Russell Wilson, you're sitting there at $22 million a year. Jimmy Garoppolo just got $27.5. You're waiting to see what Kirk Cousins gets in free agency. You're waiting to see what Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan get on their extensions and set that bar very, very high. Continue to perform at the level you've performed. If you're Russell Wilson, then this time next year when Seattle comes to you for an extension, you're going to be in a much better position to make a lot more money. The one thing to keep an eye on, though, the last time Wilson did a deal, there was a sense around the league that he really didn't maximize his leverage. Some people thought he should have asked for more guarantees, that kind of thing. So it's possible that Wilson doesn't think the way I'm describing. But if you're talking about how to maximize your value on this quarterback market and you're Russell Wilson, I think next summer, not this summer, is the one to try and hit.
You say next summer. I can't help but to listen and think about, do you remember that famous Oprah show when she gave away a car? I feel like there's so many millions to give away. You get $1 million, you get
a contract.
You get a contract. You get it. That's absolutely correct. Okay, so listen, let's talk about this. Injuries and age definitely have taken their toll on the Seahawks defense. What decisions does the team have to make this offseason?
There are a lot of decisions the Seahawks have to make this offseason, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Richard Sherman's salary is very high, and he's coming off an Achilles injury. We don't know if he'll be ready to start the season. Do they have to go to him for a pay cut and some cap relief? Cliff Averill also has an injury issue. Cutting him would save them $7 million against this year's cap. Cam Chancellor, as we know, has a neck injury. Pete Carroll has said of both Averill and Chancellor that it would, that he wonders if they can play football again. So that would create some other issues in terms of how they get their money. Earl Thomas is a guy that could come out of this pretty well. He's got a contract paying him about $10 million a year. They could look to extend him, especially with all the other uncertainty in that secondary, maybe get some cap relief, that way. So there are a lot of things going on with the Seahawks this year. Michael Bennett has a $3 million roster bonus due in the middle of March. Jeremy Lane, one of their cornerbacks, is a candidate to possibly be cut. They have to decide whether to franchise Sheldon Richardson or bring him back on a new contract or let him go. A lot more uncertainty than we're used to with that Seattle defense.
Yeah, 11th in total defense after finishing in the top 5 the 5 previous seasons. We definitely saw that on the field. That's our Dan Graziano. Thanks for joining us here on Coast to Coast.
Thanks, Gary.